another. Our next speaker is Pascal Chaffard, who is Chief Online Betting and Gaming Officer at FDJ United, Français de Jeux United, as you all know, acquired Kindred not too long ago, including its highly successful Unibet brand. FDJ United, moreover, is also the owner of ZBet, which means that FDJ is now certainly a major force in the Dutch gambling industry. We are very happy to welcome Pascal, coming from Paris to the stage. Pascal, welcome, and the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you for hosting me here. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. For those who don't know me, it has been said by Willem, I'm a Chief Online Betting and Gaming Officer at FDJ United. I also lead the group strategy and the transformation of the operations of the group. I'm a sort of a veteran, if I may say, of the industry with decades of experience, as you can see in my hair. I joined FDJ United 32 years ago, and I've witnessed firsthand the constant evolution of our industry and the new challenges that have come along the way. First of all, before we start, I would like to say words of thanks to Willem and also to the Gaming in Holland team for putting together this year's conference. I strongly believe that constant dialogue and interchange of ideas is what makes the sector stronger and more resilient. This is no better place for this. This conference is such as this. So FDJ United is a European gaming champion with over 33 million players enjoying our product. Born from the French National Lottery, which was founded in 1933. It makes us a little bit younger than Netherlands Lotteries and a little bit older than Holland Casino. Born from the National Lottery that I said, in 1933 to help the victims of the Great War, FDJ United keeps social responsibility at the heart of its business model. The theme of today, reclaiming the market, therefore strikes close to our purpose, which is to inspire the future of safe and entertaining lottery, gaming, and betting with positive impacts on society. Reclaiming the market is not only relevant here in the Netherlands, but challenges us across Europe. Today, I would like to share our vision of FDJ United. And as you will see, it will not be very different from the one that has been said this morning by Ella from KSA and also Arjan from Netherlands Lottery. But I take it as a positive, as if we are all aligned between operators and also regulators, we have a chance to fight better against the illegal market. So I am grateful to be here in the Netherlands. It is one of the core online markets and one of what is at the forefront of the consumer protection. The Dutch market, with an engaged regulator, has challenged all of us to make great strides in our approach to consumer protection. Since the acquisition of Kindred Group, we have taken great care to learn from our past and to have concentrated our efforts in becoming a dependable operator for the regulator and for the other operators alike. Now, almost half a decade after the opening of the market, we see the first effects of the latest regulation take shape. Average player losses are down, there is a stabilization in active players, but an increase in the number of players account per player. On the flip side, we see a decrease in GGR, a spike in unlicensed advertisements, and a tumbling channelization rate. The conclusion is fairly simple. Whilst the license market is stagnating or even shrinking, we are increasingly faced with the threat becoming a reality of a growing unlicensed black market. A threat that currently, in the political reality of the Netherlands, seemingly is not being given the attention it deserves. The coalition agreement proposes a full advertising ban, strengthened duty of care obligation, and wishes to investigate limiting the number of licenses available. Let us be clear, at FDJ United, we always strive for a safe and entertaining duty of care and product. We support the government's endeavor to strengthen the duty of care obligations, but caution it to ensure that these measures are funded in evidence and not to push those who we aim to protect the most to the illegal offering. We understand the political logic behind the call for a full advertising ban, but the learnings from other markets does not support a blanket ban as the most effective tool. Targeted restrictions tied to compliance standards would achieve the same consumer protection goal without driving players to the unregulated market where there is no protection at all. The paradox we are faced with is that Europe's most consumer protection conscious market may, though its own set of measures, do the most damage to consumer protection. A paradox that, in part, is our own making. Our behavior in the past has fueled the political sentiment that lay at the root of this paradox. We recognize that our operation in recent years has had to make significant steps to meet the rigorous compliance standards demanded to us. The KSA's own data show that roughly half of every euro deposited goes to an unlicensed operators. In our eyes, the channelization problem is the single biggest consumer protection failure in the Dutch market right now. Every restrictive measure aimed at licensed operators that does not simultaneously address illegal operators makes the problem worse. The advertising ban, as currently proposed, risks accelerating the very shift to illegal operators that everyone say they want to prevent. So, how can we combat the black market? The rise and threat of the black market is not unique to the Netherlands, you can imagine. FDJ United operates in markets at every stage of the regulatory development, and the Netherlands is at a critical inflection point, moving from did legalization work to how do we make it work well. What we have seen in France, in Sweden, in Belgium, is that the operators will invest in compliance infrastructure early, not because they are forced to, but because this is the right long-term business model, are the ones that build durable market positions. We have also seen what happens when regulation overreaches. Channelization spikes, illegal operators fill the gap, and consumer protection goes backwards. The Dutch market has the ingredients to get this right. What it needs is a regulatory framework that rewards good actors rather than creating space for the black market. We see our role here not just as an operator, but as a company that has navigated this transition in multiple jurisdictions and can bring that institutional knowledge to bear in the Dutch conversation. To us, the rise of unlicensed operators is not a single market issue. It's a transnational problem that transcends national boundaries and can only be tackled through collaboration on a local and international level. As a leading operator in Europe, we feel it's our responsibility to take an active role in fostering this cooperation. Here in the Netherlands, the recent integration of the two trade associations into a single one has strengthened our ability as a sector to have our voice heard and improved our capabilities to reclaim the market. At the international level, FDJ United is represented in 8 different regional and international trade associations, in addition to being an active member of our local trade associations. This allows us a unique local insight on a global scale. FDJ United's fight to reclaim the market sits at the core of our mission to provide safe, innovating, and entertaining lottery, gaming, and betting products. To harmonize our knowledge in the fight against the black market across all of our verticals and all of our markets, we launched our internal task force in 2025, focused on combating the black market. We continue to build up our knowledge. To that end, our task force is commissioning a study that aims to establish better insights into the volume of players playing on unlicensed markets in Europe, complementing the foundational work conducted by H2 Gambling Capital in its report and by the KSA in their biannual monitoring reports here in the Netherlands. Our task force sees a clear path forward to reclaiming the market. First, we must educate our players, policymakers, and politicians alike. Second, we must make the unlicensed offer less visible. Third, we need to ensure that we continue to innovate our customer journeys. And fourth, we must strip the illegal operators of the ecosystem that fosters them. So, through education of our players and policymakers, we, on the one hand, raise awareness of the dangers of the unlicensed market that operates without safeguards or care for consumer well-being, and on the other hand, move towards regulation that is efficient, targeted, and effective in providing consumer protection without risking channelization rates. By simultaneously, this is not an easy one, working to decrease the visibility of the black market, we avoid new players being drawn to unlicensed platforms due to sheer marketing pressure. But we, as licensed operators, cannot sit by whilst the unlicensed market passes by us. We need to continue to innovate our offer, to offer a competitive product, smooth customer journeys, meeting the objective of the regulation, but reducing the frictions for the customers to create a system that meets the needs of today's players. Finally, we should continue to strive to collaborate with the wider ecosystem to make the black market a less appealing product. For example, for ensuring that payment blocking, we have talked about that a little bit earlier, of illegal gambling activity is effective, that internet providers are hindering access to illegal platforms, and that the B2B companies have a better toolbox at their disposal to more proactively and swiftly react to unlicensed operators misappropriating their products. We seek cooperation where possible. To that end, we have met with regulators, leading payment service providers, and big tech companies regarding our ambition to curtail the black market. Where cooperation is not possible, we do not shy away from stricter measures. At the European level, we are a proud member of the European Betting and Gaming Alliance, the EGBA. This allows us to leverage the toolbox that the European Union has provided to us to its maximum extent. Together with the other members of the EGBA, we are working to hold accountable the big tech companies for allow their platforms to be flooded with unlicensed advertisers. We also worked in partnership with BGC in UK, with a recent H2GC study showed that the illegal market is also booming there, with the same ingredients that the one we see in the Netherlands and within the EU. Yesterday, we were meeting at the UK Gambling Commission, notably on that topic with BGC and with all the main UK operators. In the Netherlands, as it has been said also previously, a recent study commissioned by VNLock showed that 95% of gambling advertisements on Meta platform were promoting illegal operators. We cannot stress enough that the extent to which the visibility of unlicensed operators lays at the root of the growth of the black market. To that end, we are actively engaged with the European Commission to explain and educate them on the issue of illegal operators, and we continue to push them to reinforce the tools they have at their disposal to take down illegal gambling sites faster. So the path ahead is clear. We need to educate this generation and generations to come on the difference between the safeguards provided on a licensed market and the risks presented by the unlicensed one. We need to break the stranglehold that unlicensed operators have on the advertising space, and we need to ensure that we innovate our products whilst dismantling the ecosystem that upholds unlicensed operators. The black market does not respect borders, and neither can our response do it. Let us leave this room not just better informed but better aligned, because reclaiming this market is not something of any operators or regulators can do alone. It will take all of us. And this is the end of my speech. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Pascal. Reclaim together. Last matches, very nice. I think we've won a question from the audience that we'd like to ask you before we go to the coffee break. It's here in front of you, Pascal. To what extent does FDJ United have a different vision regarding market sustainability than Kindred's original leadership? You can say something about it.
Yes, I can say something about it. We have acquired Kindred a little bit less than 2 years now. We have stated very clearly at the moment of the acquisition of Kindred that it was not to do exactly the same that has been done previously. For example, we did not accept to continue operating on unlicensed market. We closed those markets immediately, so it was a sort of shock. Yeah. And we have also invested in the company and invested in all the measures to reinforce compliance, etc., to set new standards to align with the sustainable growth going forward. And I think that seeing me today on the stage represented FDJ United, Kindred, and Kindred is not existing anymore, but Unibet brand is a clear sign of the change that has occurred. And we do think that stepping up on the behavior of the operator, and we have done a lot since 2 years, I can promise, a lot since 2 years, is the only way to be sustainable in the future.
Great, well, thank you for sharing that, Pascal. Stay with me for a second. We're now breaking for coffee for half an hour. In case you didn't get your notebook with the beautifully your name on it from Lily next to the reception desk, you can still get that. See you again here in half an hour.